Right, that's the script done for the God of War Ragnarok boss ranking. Whew, that took a fair bit of effort. But I'm super excited to get it out. I bet the community's really excited for this one. I mean, like my last boss rankings, this one should go down great. Well, I suppose that changes things a bit, doesn't it? Greetings, my fellow tarnished, or whatever video game related moniker you'd like to be labeled as. Welcome to my Elden Ring boss difficulty ranking, part 1. I know, I'm late to the party by several months. But Elden Ring did just win Game of the Year 2022 edition not so long ago. Congratulations, by the way. So I believe this ranking is an appropriate one to do, regardless of the late arrival. While Elden Ring may not have been my personal pick for Game of the Year, or even the best From Software game I've ever played, I'd be hard-pressed to call it anything less than a masterpiece. The open world design is some of the best I've ever seen. The lore was super engaging, the variety of weapons and subtle changes to the combat, all of it blended together to create a near-perfect action-adventure experience that I had a blast playing through. I've currently finished 2 playthroughs and am working through a third, so that's where all my boss ranking data will come from. Full disclosure, there's a couple of bosses I've only fought once, so forgive me if I miss out on a detail or two of theirs, I won't have experienced it. Also, bear in mind that, even more than before, Elden Ring is all over the place when it comes to power scaling and difficulty, so my list is going to vary greatly from your own, more likely than not. In addition, there are some bosses I found way later than you were supposed to, so level and playtime will further distinguish our lists from each other. But hey, that's what healthy discourse is for. Sound off in the comments below with your own opinions, I'd love to hear them. As one final note, this list is only ranking all major bosses, generally including main story bosses, bosses that have trophies associated with them, or just that I find significant enough to stick on the list. I'm not doing a full mini-boss ranking, I'd like to have some free time over the next 100 years. With all that said, let's get this video started. Number 33, Soldier of Godrick. He's dead now. Number 32, Mimic Tier. This boss is a really awesome concept. A mirror image of the player with your exact build trying to kill you in a game with massive build variety. Unfortunately, if there's anyone good at taking me down, it's me. At the end of the day, Mimic Tier is an NPC fight. We've been dealing with those since the dawn of this franchise, and Mimic Tier doesn't bring too much new to the table. I know my build, I know its weaknesses, I know how to beat it, simple as that. Just watch out if you give him the ability to parry, because he's probably better at it than you are. Also, I know about the go in naked and put your clothes back on method, but why would you need that? Are you bad at the game? Number 31, Leonine Misbegotten. This is a pretty blatant case of a regular enemy ballooned up to boss status in the early game, and I picked up on that even on my first playthrough. He'll kill you a fair few times first time around if your gear isn't up to standard or if you're still adapting to the combat, but on repeat runs, he is nothing special. Number 30, Fierce Champions. Remember the Mimic Tier? Was one NPC boss not enough? How about 3? Not that it's any better of a fight, this just feels lazy. There's one guy, then another guy, then 3 guys all at once. Whoop-de-freaking la-di-da, what a fun Friday night. The credit I do give them is that they are a late game Elden Ring boss, so they stole all the give me more damage juice from Miyazaki's fridge because this one fat bastard basically one-shot me on my first try. Yes, I have a death to Fierce Champions. Yes, I am ashamed of it. It goes to show that every boss in FromSoft needs to be taken seriously to an extent, otherwise they can and will punish you for it. Nah, these guys just got lucky. More like, Fierce chumps. Number 29, the Regal Ancestor Spirit. I've found the ghost of the Magnetic Moose YouTube channel. Yeah! This is one of the better bosses in the game in my opinion. The atmosphere, soundtrack, and aesthetic are all beautiful. However, Bambi's mum isn't exactly a taxing fight. I played the Dark Souls 2 DLC, I've had a lot of experience with glowing bastard reindeers. In addition, if you did the necessary exploring, you might have already fought a weaker version of this boss already, giving you experience with its moveset. So long as you have a weapon capable of hitting the damn thing, avoiding its predictable kicks and horn attacks is pretty easy, and the magic doesn't really add anything too stressful, so you won't be in for too hard of a battle. Number 28, Flying Dragon Agheel. You know, it's not that often that we see a dragon boss in the bottom half of a difficulty list, but that's what he gets for being halfway to a tutorial. Don't worry though, he gets his revenge when his 7 palette swap cousins show up throughout the game to continually bash me. Especially that bastard on the frozen lake. Gives me fucking chills every time I think about it. However, we're only counting the first encounter. Flying Dragon Agheel fights like you'd expect a dragon to fight in a FromSoft game, with various melee swipes, bites, and elemental breath attacks, but his damage is low enough to take a few hits safely, and his health isn't that taxing if you use the single greatest move in the game, the jumping R2 attack. Add in your horse best friend for extra maneuverability, and you can literally run circles around this guy, and take him down without too much stress. Pretty underwhelming for a dragon boss. I wonder if they'll rectify that later in the game. Number 27. Sir Gideon Ofnir, the All-Knowing! This magnificent bastard. Emphasis on bastard. He's a filthy magic spammer. That's all that he has. Unlimited spam works. Gideon is an NPC fight that falls over like a house of cards once you get close. It's getting close that's the problem. He's got unlimited magic from what I can tell, and uses various spells based on the bosses you've fought throughout the game. So you've seen every attack he throws at you, but you haven't seen them coming at you this quickly. If you've completed optional bosses such as the Lord of Blood, the Big Snake, or the he'll come packed with more attacks, which is honestly a really awesome design idea. Though this is a difficulty ranking, not a quality ranking, so it just makes the fight harder. I've found overcoming him to mainly be a matter of luck. He needs to use the spells that don't force you to stay at range enough to allow you to get in close and chop his health bar down to size. He does come equipped with a Crimson Flask, but you come with 12, so outdrink him and Gideon will go down. All-knowing, huh? Did you know I was gonna come and beat your ass? Number 26, Dragonkin Soldier. I honestly feel bad for this boss. Maybe if I'd found him earlier, he'd be a lot harder, but on both playthroughs I only found this guy at the end of the game and I melted him. I even had time to switch to a much worse weapon in the middle of the fight and I still melted him with no difficulty. He fights about how you'd expect from a giant gargoyle with a weapon in a FromSoft game, but the one piece of credit I'll give to him is that he has a harder variant. There's a Dragonkin Soldier hiding in the Lake of Rot, and that fight might honestly make the top half of the list. But the version we're ranking, from my experience, is barely above a bottom dweller. Maybe I'll go out of my way to find you earlier next time, you can show me what you've really got. Number 25, the Red Dog of Radagon. From Software dogs suck. Except Sif, but that's one out of like 300. This dog is in the middle of the pack in terms of quality, but certainly on the upper echelon in terms of difficulty. The Red Dog of Radagon is the valedictorian of the Academy of Rea Lucaria, because I guess their education system is just built different, and he clearly excelled in the classes of high damage, quick charges, and overwhelming magical projectile attacks. Thankfully, he failed in the being able to take a hit section. Red Dog is a glass cannon. If you can track the damn thing down and actually hit it, it's not too bad. It goes down rather quickly. If he manages to spend the whole fight dashing and diving around, pelting you with every magic attack under the sun, or the moon as would be more appropriate, you're in for a rough ride. I've had a mix of both over my playthroughs, and this is about where I'd put him. He's certainly challenging, but when the fight goes my way, he is easy. Number 24, Magma Wyrm. This boss is infuriating. It's not hard, and we all know that, but it still manages to kill me almost every time I find one. Helps that it always feels like I never have enough damage for the boss fight. Magma Wyrm is a girthy son of a bitch that mainly uses one-shot attacks, like a one-shot sword quake with a questionable hitbox, a one-shot crawling attack, and then spitting lava everywhere that leads to a quick death. The moveset is easy enough to read, the boss staggers consistently with enough jumping R2 attacks, it just does really high damage to compensate for all its weaknesses. Another factor of the fight is area denial. Remember Lawrence the First Vicar? Yeah, these must be his children, because they also like to cut off your movement with lingering lava. There's also a variant that learned how to stand up. Oh, they grow up so fast. Not that it adds much to the fight. If anything, I find this variant to be slightly easier because you can actually tell what he's doing. Thankfully, avoiding the Magma Wyrm's attacks is fairly easy if you've got the room to maneuver. So, while it's definitely frustrating, it isn't what I'd call truly difficult, more I'm just not very good sometimes. Number 23, Astel, Naturalborn of the Void. Props to the visual designers, this thing is incredible from an aesthetic perspective. This giant space whatever the fuck is chilling in the underground caves waiting for you, and evidently it had time to prepare for the battle. I'm not going to sit here and describe how every large beast boss can smack you with their various limbs, so what does Astel do that's unique? Oh, well, not too much, just that he summons magic meteors! Yeah, that's quite the escalation from Unga Bunga melee swipes. It also uses several kinds of special magic explosions, which are just a visual feast, when they're not killing you at least. It also comes equipped with a powerful grab attack, indicated by a rather scary animation. This skull-faced tusk thing swiggity-swooting towards you at rapid speed off of a teleport should be enough to make you quiver. Unfortunately, for all of its power, and all of its spookiness, it has the weakness of being smacked in the face really hard. I found its health to be nothing too excessive by this point in the game, and the damage was honestly kind of mediocre. I was able to survive a lot longer than I thought I would. I'd give Astel the nod of being the average difficulty marker for Elden Ring. Yes, we hit the average outside of the game's top 20 hardest. Can you see where I'm going with this? Number 22, Elemer of the Briar. Medieval Darth Vader. That's the best way to sum this fight up. Elemer wields a laser sword on a chain, resulting in some of the coolest attacks in the game, and they aren't the easiest to avoid if you're still getting used to the timing. The range is deceptive. However, when I first fought him, it was in the late game, and, well... all your fancy swordplay means nothing against the big number. Thankfully, I rematched him on my second character, and while he still wasn't that hard, he was a satisfyingly difficult fight. Not bullshit hard like many others on the list. Elemer feels like a very straight up fight. Dodge the attacks and punish. One of the best knight type fights of the game in my opinion, but not a particularly taxing one. Number 21, Godrick the Grafted. Mr. William Grafton, we meet again for the first time. When I first saw this guy, my jaw dropped. Margit was ludicrously hard, but he was nothing to stand out in terms of visual design or concept. However, Godrick opened up my eyes to the sheer variety that Elden Ring was bringing to the table. He wields a large axe and uses attacks that are pretty well telegraphed, including quake attacks and impressive rolling leaps and slams. Considering what he has to move in order to attack, it makes sense he's telegraphing it a bit more than usual. He can also fire wind waves at you, meaning you're pressured no matter where you face him. Range will not protect you. Even scarier is his phase 2. Godrick cuts off his own arm and then equips a goddamn dragon head in its place, which then comes back to life. Now, he has fire attacks, such as a menacing walk forward with fire spray, guaranteed to kill you if you get stuck in front of him, and a brutal grab. Thankfully, his attacks don't do ludicrous damage. He's very fair for the beginning of the game. Everything he does has a clear tell, except for one tiny AoE wave that's more of a get off me than an actually threatening attack, and they also come with a clear way to avoid it. Godrick may not be very hard, but he's one of the most balanced bosses in the game, and he's great for that. At least this failure finally succeeded at doing something right. Number 20, Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. This fight caught me by surprise. Going through one of the greatest areas in FromSoft history, and boom, the Phantom Menace. And he certainly is a menace. The word to describe this man-ghost thing is powerful. Every swing of his axe feels weighty, both in terms of animation and in terms of damage. He smacks very hard. He also performs various quake attacks, giving you more to watch out for, so you better time those iframes right. I swear, every boss in this game must have had access to the TM for Earthquake. I found the melee attacks to be standard knight fight material, quick tells and quick executions, but no unreasonable demands of your reaction speed. I've been fighting bosses like this throughout the entire franchise. It's nothing I wasn't already prepared for. The main thing giving me trouble were the quake attacks, but unless your build doesn't allow for it, you should have enough HP to survive a hit or two and then heal up. He gives you time to do so. This hologram puts up a damn good fight, and is a well-placed skill check to make sure you're not a terrible player by this point in the game. But he's nothing hard enough to make you cry over. If only we could have faced the real deal. Number 19, Rennala, Queen of the Full Moon. When I first fought this boss, I was left positively underwhelmed. Slaughtering a bunch of creepy choir kids before smacking their conductor was not my idea of a good boss fight, though I did appreciate the callback to the Deacons of the Deep. Phase 1 is only dangerous if you get greedy and then get hit by the AoE as her shield recharges, or if you accidentally get hit by a falling chandelier. That's it. But when that Phase 2 kicked in, my jaw dropped to the floor. And then my HP bar dropped to 0. Rennala is a true archmage, the best showing of such in the entire series. She has so many kinds of magic spells, such as Kamehamehas and slow tracking moons that make you not feel so good once they hit, though they are easy to avoid if you use those beautiful legs of yours. She can even summon creatures later in the fight, like dogs, giants, or even flying dragon Agheel. So she's a callback to both the Deacons of the Deep and Ilana the Squalid Queen. Truly a woman of many talents. Steady on, Daenerys. What's fun though is that despite her reliance on magic and keeping her distance, this fight never feels obnoxious like Gideon or Mikolash. You have ample chances to get in close and hack away, and then she has fair ways to defend herself while at close range, so the fight is well balanced in all ranges. She staggers too, especially to the handy jumping R2 attack, so there's more than enough ways to dethrone this queen in a very satisfying battle. Number 18, Godskin Apostle. Look out everyone, it's the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man! And no, I'm not being metaphorical or hyperbolic. I found this guy near a windmill. I fought him, dodging his sword strikes and black fire magic, which will actually do damage over time, so be wary of that, and thought it was going to be a pretty standard humanoid enemy type fight. Apostle brings nothing shocking to the table despite his unique weapon. Until Phase 2, when he becomes a stretchy boy. Seriously, seeing this thing's torso triple in size and swing his upper body around in a circle like a helicopter's rotor blades for an attack was a beautiful sight to see, and the less said about his butt being sucked back to his upper body, the better. The main problems with the Apostle is getting stuck in his multi-hit attacks, like this move where he twirls his weapon, like he's in Ruby blocking bullets with cheap animation, or not being able to predict just how he'll move in his second phase. Erratic doesn't even begin to cover some of those stretches. You'll go for an attack, only to find the body part you were going for yeet itself out of harm's way. It's a damn creative fight, and a pretty tough one, but on the second time around I learned his tells and gave him the business with relative ease. His move pool, despite how chaotic it is actually rather shallow, so you can learn his attacks after a couple fights, and then you'll have a much easier time. Number 17, Rykard, Lord of Blasphemy. Ah, Satan. My old friend. Foe. My old foe. I don't like Satan. Welcome to the fight with the big snake. If you try and fight this guy straight up, have fun with that. Thankfully, we are given the BFS 10 feet into the arena. The big fucking spear. Designed to kill the BFS. The big fucking snake. To go away from a difficulty ranking perspective real quick, this fight is so fucking awesome. Yes, it's a gimmick fight, and maybe that's not your style, but I love it. The Serpent Hunter is so fun to use in this battle. It has an intuitive moveset with lots of variety, and it perfectly suits the boss's moveset. It's such a well-crafted battle, with spectacle out the wazoo. It attacks like a snake would. 2 to 3 charge attacks at a time, or wide swipes with its body, so use and abuse those iframes. Now be sure to dodge its grab attack. The arena is large, so be sure to use that, seeing as the boss is perpetually surrounded by lava that will kill you if you get cornered, and it's not like your weapon is short on range. However, I said we were fighting Rykard, not this danger noodle, so where is he? Oh, there he is. He's on the serpent's throat and decides to reveal himself in Phase 2, where he then proceeds to pull a sword out of himself. Thanks, Japan! Rykard attacks with his sword in very basic ways, cuts and sideways slashes with some funky timing. Nothing new there. But here is the main reason for the boss's difficulty being elevated above fights like Rennala and the Apostle. The goddamn purgatory attack. The screen goes red, and then skulls are everywhere. Are they the souls of his victims? The soul of my social life? The souls of the people still trying to defend Dark Souls 2 as the best game of the franchise, even though they are basically objectively wrong? Whatever they are, I just dodge frantically, seeing as I find it rather hard to judge them in terms of distance in relation to my character. It works, so I can't be doing anything too outrageous, and the damage is high, but it generally won't one-shot you, so if you're careful, you can survive the onslaught. Another thing that makes Rykard's difficulty fun to rank is how little it actually has to do with your build. Unless you stack FP like a hoarder, every build in the game will approach this fight in the same way, so it's a very skill-centric experience, and I like that a lot. Based on my own skill level, and my tiny amount of FP, Rykard lands as the gatekeeper of the top half of the list. Number 16, Loretta, Knight of the Haligtree. The Tree Sentinel is the second boss you can find in Elden Ring. And then you'll find more. This boss design, huge weapon wielders on horseback, is reused a lot throughout the game, and the peak of them is this pretty fun fight, Loretta, the Guardian of the Haligtree. She shares the basic Tree Sentinel design, i.e. riding around on horseback with melee attacks to each side, but she also has the magic attacks of another mini-boss you can fight earlier on in the game. This combination is very dangerous. She has summoned swords that can fire at you with some decent tracking, she has giant arrows that can come in quick succession, or volleys of more than one, her melee attacks are as dangerous as any other Tree Sentinel, and her closing speed is pretty ridiculous. Oh, and you can't use Torrent to even the odds. You're stuck with your own legs. To cap it all off, she's in the second half of this game. Why is that important? Because everything after Morgott the Omen King has the damage spiked to high heaven, or more appropriately, high hell, and that includes Loretta. Admittedly, her damage isn't quite as nuts as the other bosses in her part of the world. I can survive a few attacks, but those giant arrows are nearly guaranteed to result in my death, either via one shot or stunning me long enough to get hit by a follow-up. Also, the hitbox is wider than you'd think, so make sure you are dodging them properly. This all feels pretty balanced though. Loretta isn't a bullshit fight, just a challenging one. If you made it to her, you've faced worse. So, get good, King, you've got this. Funnily enough, Loretta's only the second hardest Tree Sentinel fight in the game. Imagine that. Number 15, Margit the Foul Omen. Ah, good old Margit. I died to him at least 20 times on my first playthrough. I beat him first try on my second. That's what we call a learning experience. For a first main boss and a gatekeeper to the rest of the game's content, Margit is absolutely ridiculous. I was rusty on Soulsborne mechanics going into this game, with a Bloodborne playthrough from 2 months prior being my most recent practice, and I was not prepared for the absolute ass kicking I received. Margit is fast. Lightning fast. He combos like the most dangerous bosses in Dark Souls 3, and he's the first proper boss in the game. The variety of his attacks means you'll need to keep careful eyes on his entire body. He pokes, prods, and sweeps you with his cane, or spins and smacks you with his tail. At any point, he can jump back and throw an energy dagger, a bastard of a move that can and will chip you down, as he repeats it over and over and over again, including in the middle of your attacks. Curse you, Hyper Armor. But with enough persistence, you can wear down his health, little by little. At least until you get to phase 2. And he says, "Stop! Hammer time!" This makes his combos even more ludicrous, as he now has, as you can see, a giant fucking hammer to smash you with. Large leaping slams, close-up swings, he definitely knows how to use that weapon, and it makes his mix-ups even more unpredictable. In addition, perhaps his most frustrating mechanic, if he's not doing anything and you try to heal, he will throw a dagger and disrupt your healing, costing you a flask and making you feel damn stupid. Oh, and his arena has no side rails. He can't be knocked off the edge, but you can. So what's your footing? His purpose as a boss is basically go away and come back when you're stronger. This is an open world game, go explore. And so that's what I did. Beating him unlocks the rest of a truly incredible game. So, that's all the motivation you need to get good and kick his ass. Believe me, it's worth it. But, in order to see what remains in the rest of the game you just unlocked, we're gonna need to come back in the next part of this series. Thank you everybody for watching part 1 of my Elden Ring boss difficulty ranking. I hope you all enjoyed. I tried to switch up my commentary to focus less on describing every single sword swing or claw swipe, and more on the unique elements of the boss mechanics, and I hope it made the video a bit easier to watch and a little shorter than it would have been otherwise. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, as well as your own Elden Ring boss difficulty rankings. I would love to get that discussion going. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. It helps the channel out and ensures that you won't miss out on part 2, where we cover the top 14 hardest bosses in Elden Ring. Why is it a top 14? Because I like the number 14. One final note, please be sure to check out my community tab, where you can vote on upcoming videos and help influence what kind of content the channel will be seeing next. Thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.